Progress.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Good and Erev Shabbos Shira. Haba Aleinu L'Taiva. We have a lot to do today, but not a lot of time. So we're going to try to hope for Siyata D'Shmaya. The first thing I want to share with you is Davar Yafeh B'Itai, connecting the Parsha to the time of the year. In general, Tu B'Shvat usually falls out in the week of Parshas Beshalach, the week we read Shiras Hayam. So a remez that occurred to me b'siyata d'shmaya is that the Me'am Loyes brings that one of the miracles that happened at the Yam was that trees began to sprout forth and produce fruits for the Jewish people to partake of. So perhaps that is a remez to the minhag that the Magid Avram brings down, v'noyagim ha'ashkenazim, to partake of fruits on Tu B'Shvat. So that is one connection between the Parsha and the Zman of the year. Now, it says they went 3 days without water, and the Gemara Bava Kama tells us that Moshe was masakin for Klal Yisrael, Kriyas HaTorah, so that we should not go 3 days without Torah. Because the Gemara says, don't read it 3 days without water, but rather 3 days without Torah. Moshe was masakin for Klal Yisrael, that the mitzvah of Kriyas HaTorah. And I think it's very timely that we read specifically now, the week of Tu B'Shvat, the mitzvah of Kriyas HaTorah. Because Hashem sent me a beautiful gift. I mentioned this on Wednesday, that the Gemara tells us in Bava Basra that on Tu B'Av they stopped chopping wood for the Mizbeach. And the reason is because the sun began to wane and the days began to get shorter and the nights longer, and the wood was not sufficiently dry, so it became a little bit wormy. So now that the nights were longer, there's more time for learning, and therefore was cause for celebration. That's one of the reasons why Tu B'Av is a Yom Tif. However, friends, even though Tu B'Av is a Yom Tif because the days are shorter and the nights are longer, and the nights were created for Limud HaTorah, the Maharsha points out that the opposite of Tu B'Av would then be Tu B'Shvat, which would be the reason why the sap begins to rise in the tree on Tu B'Shvat is because the sun begins to get stronger and the days get longer and the nights shorter. So the following occurred to me. If the nights get longer on Tu B'Av, then the days get longer on Tu B'Shvat. Now what are nights for and what are days for? Nights, the Medrash Tanchuma says that when Moshe Rabbeinu was on Har Sinai, how did he know when was day and when was night? How did Moshe Rabbeinu know when the day was and when the night was? So the Medrash says that during the daytime Hashem learned with him Torah Shebachsav, and during the night Hashem learned with him Torah Shebal Peh. So I think it comes out very amazing that now it's Tu B'Shvat time and the days are getting longer. If we have more daylight, there's more time for Torah Shebachsav. Perfect timing to read about the enactment and takana of Moshe Rabbeinu that we have to read from the Torah every Monday, Thursday, and Monday, because now that the days get longer, there's more time for Kriyas HaTorah. Okay. Now, the Maharash Engel, Rav Shmuel Engel, one of the great Gaonim of the 18th century, he brings that in this week we read that any illness that I placed in Mitzrayim, I will not put on you because I am Hashem, your doctor. And the Mefarshim ask, well, if Hashem is not going to place them on us, why do we need a doctor? So he brings that Rifa'inu Hashem v'nei Rafeh. Heal us, Hashem, and we will be healed. Because if Hashem sends a chayla, a refuah, through a shliach, we're concerned he might become sick again. But if the refuah comes through Hashem and not through a shliach, then the person will definitely be cured. So when the people saw they couldn't drink the water from Marah, and then Moshe Rabbeinu stuck his stick in it, and the water became sweet, so they thought, okay, they had a refuah, but it's only through Moshe, who's a shliach, so maybe it will come back. Like by Mitzrayim, that they had Makkah after Makkah. So Hashem said, no, don't be worried. Ani Hashem Reifecha. I'm your doctor. And if I'm your doctor, you don't have to be concerned that it will happen again. So the Marash Engel says something beautiful. That when we read Parshas Beshalach, this Kriya awakens refuah for Klal Yisrael. So this week, that always happens on Tu B'Shvat, we eat fruits, like the Magen Avram says. The gematria of Chamisha Asar Shvat is 1,234, and Chamisha Asar Shvat 1,234. Yes, you got it. It's the right gematria. It's the same gematria as Shlach Refuah Shalema L'Choy Le'amecha, with the words. Who would have known? Chamisha Asar Shvat is gematria Shlach Refuah Shalema L'Choy Le'amecha, with the words. The word pri with the letters is 293, the gematria of refuah. Therefore, we eat the fruits of the tree. Tree is 91, because ani with the letters, with the name Havaya, ani is 61 plus 26 is, he says, ki ilan mispar tzadi aleph, ki mispar ani. The word ani is 61 with the letters, that's 64. And the koilel is 65. Plus 26 is 91. That's Ani Hashem Roife'echa. Ani Hashem is 91, which is a segula l'refuah. But therefore, the minhag of eating fruits of an Ilan 91 is the gematria of Ani Hashem. And through that we get refuah. And refuah im ha-koilel is gematria pri im ha-oisiyos. But what was interesting to me is the Marash Engel says, by reading Parshas Beshalach, it's ma'oirer refuah to Klal Yisrael. Fine. Then I'll share with you something interesting. That the pasuk Vayoreyu Hashem Eitz. Vayoreo Hashem Eitz, God showed him a tree. I think that's also a remez to Tu B'Shvat, the Chag of the tree, of the Ilanos. And then Vayashlech El Hamoyim, Vayimtiku Hamayim. This maybe is a remez to that which is brought down in the Sefer Imrei Noyam and Ataras Yeshua, that by eating Peiros on Tu B'Shvat, Nimtiku Hadinim, the Midas Hadin is sweetened. Okay. By the way, Reb Shlomo Kluger also says something interesting. He says, Tu B'Shvat always falls out between Beshalach and Yisroi. I guess he means besides this year, but at least it's close enough this year. Tu B'Shvat is a few days before Beshalach. He says this year Tu B'Shvat is Beshalach. In the year of Shlomo Kluger wrote this, Tu B'Shvat was Beshalach, Shabbos Shira, and Minhag Yisrael Torah, that there's a connection between Shabbos Shira and eating Peiros. On Shavuos, we're judged on fruits. Why? Because that's when the Torah was given. And the Torah is Nimshala Le'etz Chayim. That's why we're judged on Ilanos. Tu B'Shvat is Rosh Hashana Le'ilanos. So it's like Shavuos, and it has a connection to Matan Torah. Therefore, in Beshalach, we're given some mitzvahs, and it's always in close proximity to Parshas Yisroi, where the whole Torah was given to us. Okay. Now, Rabbi Yaakov Emden says, Chodesh Shvat is Keneged Yosef HaTzadik. So that's very interesting to me, that Chodesh Shvat is the month of Yosef. We could say, that's why Moshe began teaching the Torah to Klal Yisrael in Chodesh Shvat. We find in the beginning of Devarim, that Vayihi Arba'im Shana be'ashtei asar chodesh be'echad chodesh. Moshe began to teach the Torah be'er es haTorah zois. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu begin to teach the Torah in Shvat? Because Shvat is the month of Yosef, and Yosef is the foundation of the Jewish people. Therefore, the start and the foundation of the Torah begins in Chodesh Shvat, the Chodesh of Yosef. Therefore, in this week's Parsha, in the month of Shvat, we read about the very first mitzvahs that were given to Klal Yisrael at Mara. Why? Because now we're in the month of Shvat, we want to hear about the Yesod of the Torah. Maybe this is why most of Shovavim is in the month of Shvat, because in Shovavim we work on Kedusha and the Shmiras Habris and the Midah of Yesoid, which is the Midah of Yosef HaTzadik. Therefore, in this week, we read about how Hashem, how Moshe Rabbeinu takes the bones of Yosef, Chodesh Shvat, and he uses those bones to split the Yamsuf, because Hayam Ra'av Ayanas, the sea saw and fled, and the Yamsuf split. Why did the Yam split? Because of the coffin of Yosef. So in this month, the month of Yesoid, the month of Yosef, we read about how the bones of Yosef were used to split the Yamsuf. So those are a number of connections between Parshas Beshalach and the Zman of the Shana, Chodesh Shvat, Tu B'Shvat, and that's our first offering for today.
Recording stopped.